Howdy, folks. This is just a reminder that if you like this content, you can help me out by liking, commenting, and especially subscribing to the video. And be sure to hit the bell notification when you do so that you always get notified whenever I have a new video out, whether it's Mysterious World or something else. These days, I usually have several videos out a week. Hope you enjoy this.
Let's go to Bart in Dallas, Texas, watching on YouTube. Bart, thank you for your call. Go ahead with your question for Jimmy.
All right, thank you. Jimmy, I want to go back to that discussion you had about justification and how sanctification fits into that discussion. I was under the impression you could be justified in your belief in Christ, but unless you sanctify your faith through life, your faith is empty. So I may be confusing definitions in terms of what the church teaches on that, and I'd appreciate a clarification on it.
Sure. Bart, I may have missed it. Did you say are you a Catholic or non-Catholic?
I've been Catholic my whole life.
Okay. So the terms, so I'll talk briefly about the terms justification and sanctification. Justification means to make righteous, and sanctification means to make holy. And righteousness and holiness are basically the same thing. And so consequently, in Catholic tradition, the two terms have conventionally been used as synonyms. So you could either talk about someone being justified or someone being sanctified. You can also distinguish between them. And one of the ways that has happened on occasion in the Catholic community is to associate justification with how we're forgiven by God and sanctification with how he heals us so that we become loving individuals. That use of the terms is also very common in the Protestant community. They tend to use justification almost exclusively in connection with forgiveness, and sanctification largely in connection with personal behavior and growth in behavioral holiness. Now, one of the things that you'll commonly hear in Protestant circles is faith alone saves, but the faith that saves is never alone. It will result in good works. And the reason for that is good works, or works of love, are an outgrowth of saving faith, of faith that works through love, according to St. Paul. And so if your faith doesn't result in acts of love, if it doesn't result in good works, then that suggests there's something wrong with your faith. Because if you genuinely love God as part of your faith, then why aren't you doing good works? Have you unrepented? Is this just a purely intellectual faith? You know, what's going on here? And similarly, if we were to translate that, Catholics could agree to the same thing. You know, what's minimally required to get into heaven is just that you avoid mortal sin. But in practice, given the situations we're confronted with in life, unless you die right after you get out of the baptistry, we're gonna be confronted with situations where we need to act as loving people. And so if someone fundamentally does not act as a loving person, then that raises severe questions about, do they actually have justifying faith or not? As John says in his first epistle, this is how we know that we've passed from death to life, if we love the brethren. And if anyone does not love the brethren, he remains in his sins. He remains in death. So the good works that we do, the acts of love that we do not themselves cause us to enter a state of forgiveness, but they are indeed evidence that we have the kind of faith that is not empty and that does justify.
Bart, as you can tell, I'm moving just because the lines have been full for this entire hour. I want to get people on, so thank you very much for the call.
And before we go, just one more reminder that if you like what you've watched, you can help me out by liking, commenting, and especially subscribing to this channel. I'm trying to grow it, and I'd really appreciate your help. Thank you, and God bless.